Hey, so here I am at my kitchen table, and I think once before I did a kitchen table drash, but I haven't done one in a long time. But I think that tonight's drash is worth sharing from my kitchen table. It's June 8th, 2018, and the parsha is Shelach Lecha. Yesterday, the New York Times Magazine for this Sunday was released online. This week's issue's theme is Love in New York. For 24 hours on May 19th, reporters and photographers followed people in love around and documented what they were doing. And that's what's in the magazine this week. As many of you may have already heard, my 17-year-old daughter and her love life is featured. It's a really wonderful and lovely article, and my husband Mike and I come out looking like really great parents, which is nice for us. Friends on Facebook have complimented us and asked us to teach parenting seminars. It's pretty cool. Here's the thing, though. The New York Times Magazine only shows one aspect of our parenting. Yes, we are great at accepting our kids' gender identities and supporting them and opening our home to them and their friends. But there are lots of other things that we're very unsure about and downright terrified of. There are parenting issues that we ignore and hope they'll go away. The article only shows one side. It's not fake news, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And that's okay because it's not a story about our parenting. It feels a little strange to me, though, to be hailed as an amazing parent when there are so many ways in which I don't know what I'm doing. What you see isn't all there is. At the beginning of this week's Torah portion, Shelach Lecha, Moses dispatches 12 spies to do reconnaissance in the Promised Land, where the Israelites have just arrived. All of the spies are chieftains in their tribes. They're named at the beginning of the portion. They spend 40 days exploring the land. Then they return, and two of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, say how wonderful the land is and tell the Israelites they're definitely going to be able to conquer it. The other 10 spies, though, while agreeing that the land is good, very good, say that the Israelites won't be able to conquer it. The people believe the 10 spies. They cry, they wail, they say they want to go back to Egypt. God is angry and decrees that the Israelites will have to stay in the wilderness for 40 years until all the generation that left Egypt in the Exodus has died. Joshua and Caleb, the steadfast spies, are the only exceptions. When a corporation or a government wants to influence people's opinions, they'll often run a campaign to shape public opinion. I know a lot less about this than the marketing professionals out there, but we've all been subject to it. Political campaigns are a good example. Candidates run ads criticizing their opponents and touting their own achievements. Each ad ends with the candidate saying, "I approved this message." In order to be effective, it's important that the message be clear and unified. Years ago in public relations class, I learned to call this one clear voice. If you want to influence people in a particular direction, it's better not to have different people saying different things and muddying the message. You want one clear voice. So there Moses is with the people, poised to enter the land God has promised them. And then he sends the spies. God's one clear voice saying God is giving them this land is apparently not enough. The name of our Torah portion, Shelach Lecha, literally means send for yourself. It's a way of saying just send, Shelach Lecha, send. But the Lecha seems like it wouldn't really be necessary. You could just say Shelach. So send for yourself, Shelach Lecha. The Lecha seems extra. One of the sages of the Talmud, Reish Lakish, says the inclusion of Lecha for yourself means that Moses had discretion over whether to send spies or not. As far as God is concerned, they're not necessary. But go ahead and send spies for yourself if that's what you need to do. I'm imagining that the reason for sending the spies is to bolster the mission. I think Moses' intention was to have the spies come back and boost the people's morale. He chose leaders, chieftains, probably men who appeared confident and strong. But apparently he didn't see the whole picture. He saw these men in a particular way, and probably in many situations they were indeed confident and strong. But when they were spying out the land, they lost their confidence and strength. They came back and they undermined the message that the Israelites could succeed in conquering the land. And that led to disaster for the generation of the Exodus. Like the New York Times Magazine story shows one side of Mike and my parenting, the side where we are confident and strong, it isn't correct that we're always confident and strong as parents. This week, 2 celebrities died of suicide. Kate Spade, the handbag designer, and Anthony Bourdain, chef, food writer, culture explorer. Both of them had great cultural impact and they were loved and admired by many. They were both very successful, but that was only one side of them. It was only one aspect of them. Their whole story included depression and other demons so bad that they didn't survive them. We all make choices about the face we present to the world, and it's never a full picture of who we are. In the 12-step world, they say that you shouldn't compare your back room to other people's front room. We know all of our own weaknesses, our messiness, the failings and vulnerability we don't show to others. But we tend to think that the weaknesses and vulnerability we don't see in other people means that those things aren't there for them. We forget that they can't see ours either because we're not showing them. So we all walk around sometimes thinking that what we see is how people are, and that they are therefore stronger than we are. And really, we are just intimately familiar with our own weaknesses, but not aware of those carried by others. I wonder what would have happened if Moses had asked the spies how they were doing before sending them off. If he had sat down with them one by one and said, "How do you feel about this mission? How do you feel about where we're going? Do you think this is going to work? Are you feeling confident? You look confident. Is that how you really feel?" Maybe nothing would have changed because it's hard to reveal your vulnerability. But maybe Moses would have been able to support them, or maybe he would have been able to choose someone else who felt differently. One of the strengths of my synagogue community is that sometimes we do feel able to share some of our struggles with others there. I facilitate parent discussions, which are not really for parents, but are just discussions for adults. I need a new name. And people do it there. And sometimes also it happens in Torah study or at other activities. When we have the opportunity and the courage to share our weakness or vulnerability, we often find that other people are struggling too. It doesn't take away our own pain or difficulty, but there can be a certain amount of comfort in knowing we're not alone. So let's make the effort to know one another well enough that we can ask, "How are you doing?" Not as a superficial question, but to ask it and to want to know the real answer. Let's remember that all of us are minimizing our weaknesses and maximizing our strength, but it doesn't make the weakness go away. May we feel supported and give support. May we give and receive compassion and love. May we get the help we need. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.